Eric Fontanez, MMAWeekly.com, coming to you from Huntington Beach, California. We're here for Tito Ortiz's open workout for his UFC 140 fight with Antonio Rogerio Nogueira in Toronto. We're going to get some footage of the former UFC light heavyweight champ sparring and also get a one-on-one interview with him. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoy. What's the difference between now and when you started this sport?
I think there's a night and day. There's two totally different books compared to chapters in this whole story of mixed martial arts. When it first began, people thought it was just this human cockfighting, two-man and a one-man leave, a gruesome, barbaric, brutal fight, and no more than that. Now it's a mixed martial art competition, competitive entertainment that they get to watch and be astonished by watching. When I first got into it, people just really saw a ground fighter versus a kickboxer, a jiu-jitsu guy versus a wrestler. And now it's all mixed in together. Now it's mixed martial artists versus mixed martial artists. And each guy has their strengths, of course, as it is in wrestling, or it will be in kickboxing, or it will be in jiu-jitsu, but they all have the same strengths one way or another.
How's the journey been for you personally, though?
The journey has been very struggling. I guess with any journey, there has to be a struggle. And the struggles have been highs, and they've been lows, and they've been brutal and great at the highest points and brutal and just miserable at the lowest points. But it was those things that would make me who I am today. And I'm thankful for it. I can't take back anything at all, or else I would have never learned from it. And I'm a type of person that learns from my mistakes. I learn from other people's mistakes. But I've done so many great things that I look back, and I think all the positive outweighs the negatives.
Now, the last time I talked to you was UFC 121. And that was a loss for you, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But what changed between then and now? I know you were talking about, you were far off from retiring and you still got a lot left. But, recently you came out and said, this may be it. What changed between then and now?
My kids, I have two little boys that I want to make sure that their dad's around them when they grow up. My family, I've made my money. I've done my things. I had to go through neck surgery since then. And having neck problems and something that I ain't looking forward to having neck surgery again, and I wouldn't want to have any type of surgeries ever again, just because it's so hard to come back after them. And I've proven that I was able to come back after them. So a couple more fights, and maybe it's time to hang up the gloves. I've done some great things. I've defended a world title longer than any light heavyweight's ever defended. I've done so much in this game of mixed martial artists. I laid a lot of grounds for the fighters nowadays, business-wise, and I don't know. What else do I got to prove? I proved the type of person I am. I proved the type of character I am. Proved what type of champion I am. What type of businessman I am. I made Punishment Athletics from a $100, $200 company out of my own pocket of branding and making something to a multi-million-dollar company. My nutrition line, Punishment Nutrition, I've done the same thing. Now with my gym, I came in here, I laid the floors myself. I painted the floors myself. I did the labor for it, because it meant that much to me. I guess it's the Latino in me that wants to work hard and prove that, we come here and we want to prove something,
You talked about the high points and the low points. What was the highest point for you over the last 15 years?
I have two highest points. Number one, highest point will have to be in my fight career is winning the world title. One that just overstepped the boundaries of being a world champion, and this how much it meant to me was when I beat Ryan Bader, because I came off of back surgery, neck surgery, and there were so many people that believed in me, and it was for me to prove them right. I wasn't there to prove anybody wrong. I was there to prove the people right that believed in me. My family, my friends, my true fans who had my back saying, Tito, we're going to be behind you no matter what. So many Latino guys who believed in me, and it's just, I guess it's the warrior in me when I got my hand raised and I dug the grave, and that feeling right there, there was no fit. No, literally, it overmatches my world championship, just the feeling. I'd even defending it 5 consecutive times. Having that win when everybody thought that I wasn't going to do anything, and proving to everybody that was right, said that, Tito, you're going to do this. And I knew I was going to do it. I was like, just watch and see. When I did it, I dug the grave, raised my hand. That feeling right there is probably the greatest feeling I ever had.
Now, your relationship with Dana White, is that still solid, or is there still some bitterness between the two of you? What's the situation there?
It takes a little bit to rebuild the bridge. I know that. There's no bitterness on my side, and I know it takes a lot for me to build that relationship back again with him, to show the loyalty that I lost towards him and Lorenzo. And I was just fighting for my family. That's all it was, no more than that. And I had no managers speaking for me. And sometimes I let my emotions get the best of me. And, I'm humble by saying, it was my mistake. It was my bad. And I apologize to him. I can't count how many times I have already. it's just one of those things. I just got to build my loyalty back to them and show my respect value by doing as much work as I possibly can to help their brand of UFC, you know, and just try to make as much money for them on pay-per-view as possible, and do all the interviews, do everything, and try to promote the fights that I compete in. Even the fights I don't compete in, you know, I still help try to promote on my Twitter at Tito Ortiz, and just try to do my part as a company man for them.
Now, I guess you have a couple fights left on your UFC contract. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got this one and one more after.
Not that you're looking too far ahead, but if you were to call it quits after that second fight, who would you want to fight? Who would you want to close out your career with?
You know, I think me and Forrest Griffin, we got some unfinished business just because they gave him the last fight, and I thought that was BS. It really annoys me a lot about it. But of course, you know, Rich Franklin calls me out, and it's like, take a number, dude. You stand in line like the rest of the people who've been calling me out. Everybody wants to try to get famous by fighting Tito Ortiz, and the people who deserve it are the people who've already fought me, or people are fighting for a title.
And one last question before I let you go. When you look back at your career and everything you've done, all of your accomplishments, all the highs, all the lows, what do you think you would have done differently?
What I would have done differently, I think I would have gone a little bit differently on the way that I went about negotiating for my contract against Dana. I think I should have had a little more trust in them, but got to understand, I was a kid who came from nothing. I didn't have a family who supported me. I always had to fight, and I had no one I could trust through my whole life. I never had anybody to look to trust as I grew up. You know, I'd have a father to trust. I'd have a mother to trust. I didn't have no one in my family. The only person I trusted was myself. And I think I had that same mentality when I was with UFC, and I saw them turning their back on me on a few things. So I felt there was no trust there, and I made a mistake. You know, I learned from my mistakes, and those things I learned from it. And the future is the future now, and the past is the past.
You live and you learn?
You live and you learn, and you forget, I hope.
Well, Tito, thanks for talking with MMAWeekly.com today, and good luck in Toronto.
Ron, thank you much. Of course, Tito Ortiz, MMA Weekly, UFC 140, Toronto, Canada. Here I come.